Hey everybody, Jimmy with the Triple C Collective.
Collin here.
Hey. So yeah, we're ready to bring you episode 10 of the Bad Batch from season 2. Yeah. Pretty excited.
Yeah.
This was a really good episode.
So cool. So
Yeah.
what I needed. It was like the most political episode of Star Wars I've ever seen in a long. I mean, at least I've seen in a long time. Because I mean, Star Wars started off pretty political. But yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Let's just get into it. This episode's basically about getting back to Marauder.
Yeah.
Boil it down.
That's what it is.
We're trying to get back the ship.
Yeah, Omega refuses to let go of it. They're fixing up a speeder that they found in the spaceport that's there.
It's our home.
And
she said.
yeah,
You know.
that's what she said in the last episode
Right.
and stuff. Like, it's their home. Like, they gotta, get it back. They can't just let it go.
Exactly.
And as they're fixing the ship, Omega is still like punching in numbers, like still can't track it, but comes to the realization that their droid is still
It's like
on.
Gonky. And they're like, what, chill. Like, we know, the Gonky's gone, blah, blah, blah. Like, they're just like, we've had enough of this Omega. Like, okay, let's move
We're
on.
trying
She's
to
like,
fix the
no. Like,
speeder.
Gonky, we could track Gonky. And they're like, oh, wait. Yeah.
And Tech is like,
Yeah.
oh, that's actually
Yeah.
an ingenious
Yeah.
idea.
Right.
Yeah, go do these things and like plug it in and see what happens.
Yeah.
And so
but then we cut to the thief driving the Marauder, the guy who you've seen in the last episode who stole it, mask on still, and then he radios in basically to like some like criminal organization that he's coming in. He's on his way in. He radios Mako, his name is, and they call him Benny.
Yeah.
So we find out this guy's name's Benny. He pulls his mask off. We see who it is. It's just a kid.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. I mean, I knew he was small. I didn't expect a kid though.
But I mean, Yoda's small too, so
Yeah.
like.
Right. We know that means nothing.
So like, yeah, size means nothing. But this was great. Like, and even seeing Benny and seeing more to this planet, like, because again, like when we first got here, like there was nothing there. Like it was all pretty abandoned.
Right. This is the other hemisphere.
Yeah.
They're saying of this planet. So yeah, there's more mining operations of the Ipsium going on this other side of the planet. We find out, and Mako is the leader of this criminal organization / mining operation. Like I don't know what else to call it, but it's really like I said, a political episode. This guy is just the worst type of greedy, and we find out pretty quick.
Well, like
this dude blows.
You find out right away, like because once Benny gets there, goes in the Marauder, goes and lands in the ship and everything.
He gaslights him immediately.
Yeah.
He's like, "This ain't worth nothing. You brought me like scrap. I'm gonna have to sell it piece by piece, basically, because it's like it's not just it's someone's ship. This is somebody. I don't know whose ship this is, but this is somebody who matters a little more than the ships we're normally taking."
And I also the one thing that stood out to me more so than even just the parsecing of the ship out was when Benny goes, "Well, how about some water rations?" And
Yeah.
And then
That was sad.
Mako opens up his canteen, takes his drink of
Huge
the canteen
sip.
first, and then gives it to Benny.
Exactly.
And
he blows.
Like
He's the worst.
so, like even in that, Mako still has to get his share.
Yeah.
Like
And
like,
through all this, Benny's still he's super loyal to Mako.
Yeah.
He's trying to please Mako. Like he's trying to be top seller.
Yeah, he's trying to be top
G. Yeah. He's so we see this, we see Mako's the worst.
Yeah.
Benny's just kind of a poor sap kid.
Yeah.
Just whatever.
Trying to
so
make it,
we
doing
go
the
back to
best he
them
can.
tracking Gonky, and Omega's like, "Oh, I found him." And they're on that speeder. They're on that speeder bike by them. Just all of them are on the speeder bike, and it's pretty funny scene.
It's pretty great.
It's pretty funny. So I actually laughed out loud during that.
Yeah, that was great.
And then this is kind of when the gang, like the Bad Batch, runs into they capture Benny basically.
Yeah, basically.
They find Gonky, and they try capturing Benny, but he runs away. And only
to have like Wrecker put out his arm and have him knock him off. Like,
and then Omega caught him with the
and then,
arrow, and then
And then, yeah, oh man, it was so good. So yeah, Omega catches him with the arrow. Wrecker catches him with the right hook, basically.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But
And Benny quickly gives up.
Yeah.
What like the whole game is. So he's like tells him like Mako what Mako's doing. He's got to give. He's a miner basically, and and a thief. He does both. And kind of is. It shows how amok this organization is. It's running by a crazy person.
And Benny is just like in disbelief the whole time. Like, you can't do anything against like Mako.
Yeah,
like you have nothing to.
Mako's the guy.
I don't know. Whenever anyone's like, you've got nothing to like help me with, I just always think of Heath Ledger's Joker in The Dark Knight. It's like, you've got nothing to hurt
Exactly.
me with.
Exactly. This is when it really started getting like into like on the waterfront. Like it was like they're going into the mining operations, and Benny's explaining it like, oh, the Techno Union used to run this place when the war was going on, when the Republic was in charge, basically, and now Mako runs it.
Yeah, once they got pushed out. It's just
basically a cesspool now, and it's become something just that there's literally child labor going on.
Yeah, and Mako's sitting on top of it, and it's awful. But so with Benny's sort of help, they're outside of that smokestack.
Well, they come up with a plan, but before that, this is like my favorite part of the episode when Omega's like stealing. She's like, stealing isn't a skill, and he's like, well, Benny's like, it is if you're good at it. Yeah, it is when you're good at it. Yeah.
And so here's the thing, though: if Benny was good at stealing, the Bad Batch never would have been able to track him.
Right.
So Benny's not good at stealing.
Right.
I want to make that clear.
I don't know. I think he's good at stealing. I think he's just not thinking it through all the way. He's good at the act of taking things, but like he wasn't thinking it through. He definitely. That's like most criminals. They're good at the step 1, 2, 3, but then they forget about all the other things. Like there's little stuff that gets all criminals caught. But yeah. And the Bad Batch isn't the normal people he's stealing from. If that was a regular ship and a regular crew, they probably would have never caught him. Let's be honest. Fair. So like he's not the greatest of all thieves we've seen, but he's only he's young.
He's also only like 12 or 15 or whatever. But yeah, so they have the smokestack plan to get in there and infiltrate Mako and get their ship back, and then get the hell out of there.
Scene is pretty cool.
And everything about it is great. Like Hunter getting sent down the stack. The stack.
Yeah.
He's
got about 30 seconds before like it bursts flames out of it.
Because every 60 seconds the smokestack is blowing up flames and everything, and oh man, it's great. But it all gets jammed up when we get that droid in there, and that droid, the droid's just like do running whatever diagnostics he needs. My question is though,
but it was funny because they're like, I thought there was no guards. There was no guards. A minute ago there was no guards. It's a minute now, and there is guards. And Tech's like, I don't know, I'm going along with it just as much as you are. Anyway, so yeah.
Right? Well, because like it's so funny that they're like, Tech, I thought you said there were no guards or anything, and he's like, and in the end, it's like, I've been surveilling this for like maybe an hour.
Exactly.
Like we have a round maybe in here.
Right.
I have no idea how their schedules are yet.
And the countdown's still on. So again, now there's like 30 seconds left. Hunter gets down. He's like halfway down there only, and the guard's just still doing his thing.
And but Benny drops the flashlight or something that they're using at the top, and
brings attention to him.
So Hunter, that makes Hunter
get him, Hunter. Basically, get him. And he goes down there and he handles business. It's so cool it's so fun when he does that.
Right. I love Benny's reaction though to after seeing Hunter like make it through and take down the droid and everything. He's like, "Wow, you guys aren't like
this
miners."
Is when he reveals,
Yeah, he's like, "Wow, you guys aren't like miners or anything." And Omega's like, "No, we're not. You stole from the wrong people."
Exactly. That's what I meant about him being. He could still be a good thief, man. He just stole from the wrong people. That's right.
Yeah.
This is the point where we really see the child labor when they go into this like when they finally all get dropped down. They all finally drop down after Hunter gets rid of this robot in quick fashion. He's got about 5 seconds when he gets down there, and he handles it. Just like Hunter normally does, and they all get down there. Then they go into this thing. There's literally children going within the mining operations, and this is when Benny reveals that, according to Mako, the Ipsium that they're mining is degraded.
Yeah, is degrading and is so basically it's just like eventually going to be no good. So they have to work as fast as they can, as long as they can, as much as they can, to keep the goodness of it, so they can keep getting paid and everything.
Yep.
And that's just it's just not the case. And like even Tech looks at it and like goes in there and is like, wow, these conditions are less than ideal.
Horrible.
Even Benny says that like, hey, I know it's degrading and stuff, but like I'm also lucky that I have a job, whereas like other people like here don't.
Yeah, they were like, we had to lower wages, we had to get, conditions are horrible, like, but it's because the Ipsium's degraded, so we have to work fast, So anyway, they finally make it to the ship.
Yeah.
And Benny's like, what? I did my job, cool.
Yeah,
bye.
but our hyperdrive is gone.
Yeah, exactly. So their way out isn't exactly a way out right now, and he
well, because Benny's like, well, I mean, they're all mad that the hyperdrive's on. And he's like, hey, you didn't ask what condition it would be in. And it's like,
I
Benny.
brought you back to it.
Benny.
Yeah.
Benny.
So he's like, quick fix, don't worry. We'll get it back. We'll get the stuff we need back. And so this is when Benny and Omega have to split up, basically.
Yes. Because...
Benny's like, I can't bring any of you. None of you blend in. There's literally children here.
Yeah.
You guys are pretty too big to blend in. So it's him and Omega, and he's like, let's change Omega into an outfit that's more appropriate. And they kind of go off.
Tech gives her the thing to, he's like, download, transfer all the data into this. I can take care of it remotely from there. And then we get the cut to like the final seal of the deal of Mako. We see Mako just gorging.
Yeah, this was it for me.
Yeah. Like just gorging himself on everything, like just drinking all the drinks.
There's food everywhere.
It's just a mess.
This is when you're like, all right,
and it's like
jig is up.
Right, because it's like the way Benny's been talking about it, it's always like rubbed me the wrong way. The water thing also like rubbed me the wrong way.
Benny's not seeing the forest through the trees, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And
trees through the forest, whatever it is. But anyway, he's not seeing it. We're seeing it as the audience, like that Mako's just immediately the worst. He doesn't need to be doing this, but he is. Yeah. He has plenty of stuff to go around.
Yeah,
and he's stealing not only food but profits and anything.
Right. Well, because that's the thing. It's
anything that lands on their planet.
He is taking way more than what he is fairly giving out to everyone.
Yeah. So Benny still thinks like, oh, I can't wait to like win. Like he's still trying to win favor and like. But anyway, they get to
top
this
earner and stuff, and
it's
like
horrible. He's just like just a loner kid who fell down the wrong rabbit hole. He fell into the wrong position, and he thinks he's doing what everyone has to do, and he is doing what everyone else around him's doing. He's either a miner or he's stealing stuff and getting up in his ranks.
And to be fair, we do see him do a little bit more thievery.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Like
we
run
into Drake, who's like eating, or like they're in the barracks, but they're not eating. They don't have food yet. But he's like, let's stick around to Omega. Like, let's see who wins top earner.
Yeah, because so Omega wants to like get them all through and like, hey, we gotta go somewhere. And Benny's like, hey, slow your jets there.
Exactly.
We need a card key to go out to get anywhere.
Yep.
I don't have one. So I need to swipe it from somebody.
I need to be near somebody who's a little closer to Mako.
Yeah, who's a little bit closer to Mako. And she's like, oh, you're not in his inner circle for like all that you do and stuff.
But he's like, no, I'm still trying.
And he's like, no, I'm trying and everything.
Yeah, fine.
But
worker of the month.
Yeah, right. Employee of the month, basically.
Yeah.
And
so this is when we see him interacting with Drake, and he steals Drake's card. So he is kind of a good thief. If he's among thieves and stealing from the thieves, he's got to be pretty good, especially if they're all at the same level, like whatever.
Yeah.
So he does that, and he's kind of like showing off. And then he's like, let's stick around. Let's see what the results are. And this is again when we see how depraved Mako is, because we just, especially after just seeing him gorging,
Yeah.
it's like, come on. So he's eating, and he comes out, and he's like, oh, here's Topper, and it's Drake, and Drake gets, you know, a bowl of soup, and then he's like, all right, I take care of my guys though, so I'm gonna have a pizza party. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
But he like puts out a bowl of soup, and they all have to share that bowl of soup.
Yeah.
The second bowl of soup.
Yeah, that second bowl of soup everybody shares, and it's like, it just hurts because there was definitely a skewer that he had that had like 18 different patties of, like, I would assume meat on there. That it's just like, oh, you could have cut those in half, and every single one of those boys out there would have been able to eat.
Yeah, and we kind of cut back right at this point to the crew again.
Yeah.
Batch. They're kind of just fixing the ship and talking about how bad the conditions are.
Tech's like, I've got this, and this going. Most systems are online.
They're almost ready. They're pretty much ready to go.
And they're like, we're just waiting on the hyperdrive. And then you just get a cut to Wrecker. I'm working on it.
Exactly. And then, this is also when before that we get Benny and Omega getting into the room.
Getting into the control room?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And when they get into the control room, you see Benny put some kind of alert on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you little snitch.
Yeah, little snitch.
Little snitch. So he puts that on, and then but before Mako can arrive, they get some details on Mako's operation. Omega finds out that he's just stealing all the profits, and the degraded Ipsium is just a lie.
It's not degraded at all. It's fine Ipsium. And it seems that he's not, that profits are good and everything, but clearly he's not distributing them equally. So,
So under the Empire, we're seeing how, like, things are run. It's just, like, free for all, and, like, whoever is the strongest gets...
I mean, Tech even says it, I think, later on, is, like, what Mako is doing here is exactly what the Empire is doing in other systems and stuff. Mako's just, like, quicker to the draw because the Empire isn't controlling the system yet.
Right.
There's no...
And they don't really care to control anything beyond actual control of power. They're not actually trying to put systems in place that are going to help any planets. They're just trying to extract as much resources from each planet that they...
Well, and then it's also this. So Benny really starts feeling guilty that he ratted him out because Omega, like, he sees, like, talking Omega via the comms with the Bad Batch, like, she's like, all right, we got the code. Gives him the code. And then they're like, all right, do this, and that. And then they're like, all right, over and out or whatever. And Benny's like, he's like, wow, they actually treat you like one of them, man. She's like, well, yeah, we're like a family.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about?
There's no tier system here.
No one. Like, we all are good at different jobs, but we all have our specialties. But, like, we all are working towards the same goal here. We're a family. Like, we're a crew. We're a squad, as Omega likes to say. And Benny's like, I wish Mako did that, you know.
He's just starting to see the parallels between Omega and himself, and like, I've been stuck on this planet my whole life, and it's just perspective change. Yeah. It's just all of a sudden he's realizing, like, Mako's running things different than it has to be run, and it's kind of nice to see the break, but it's already like, you snitched already, bro. Like,
you snitched already.
So this is when Mako comes in, and he's like, good job, Benny. Well, like, a thief finding a thief,
Well, a thief finding a thief. That's that's a good line that they get. But, like, Benny also says, I can't leave it, because Omega says, why don't you just, like, leave? Can't leave. This is my home. And Omega's like, "What? That's why I
understand home.
I understand home because that's
why I'm here.
That's why I'm here to get it back, you bastard."
You jerk.
And then, but I think the true sealer of why Benny feels bad is when Omega gives him the rations for helping.
Agreed.
Is like, that's where Benny was like, "Oh,
I messed up. Like the candy bar. Yeah,
I messed up. I messed up.
Yeah.
Like, this is."
And then before Mako can come in, also, he takes that data that they extracted.
Yep.
And but he takes the data kind of, and then that's when Mako comes in. He's like, a thief catching a thief, you know, like, and Omega just, like, you know, explains, no, I'm not a thief. I'm just here to get my stuff back.
Yeah, I'm here to. We're here to get.
What is mine?
Yeah, what is mine?
But-
And yeah, Omega's taken away. Benny keeps the data because he doesn't let Mako take it.
He hides it right away.
It is a good thing.
Puts it behind his back.
And then we get to the basically the showdown in the bridge.
So Bad Batch versus Mako.
Yeah,
And it's like all these kids behind Mako, and then these guard robots holding up Omega. Mako's kind of like, yeah, you can shoot me, but you're gonna probably hit Ipsium, and you're gonna blow us all up. And if you do hit me, these robots are gonna go ahead and drop, or the guards are gonna drop Omega into this boiling lava, basically.
Yeah, so that's so.
It's a showdown. It's a great showdown, and then this is when Benny kind of comes to his senses.
Yeah, he comes out, he grows a pair, and calls out Mako.
Yeah.
And it's like, we got the evidence right here, Mako.
Right.
And then Drake,
He's like, let me see.
is like, well, it's like right next to Benny, and they have that rivalry that we've already seen in the barracks, and so like Drake sees it because he's like, hold on, wait a second, like. Because Drake, I'm sure, is seeing it like, wait, I could be getting more than what I've been, and like we all can be getting more.
All of us could be getting more. So,
than
yeah,
what we have been.
They're no longer, the guise is up. Like his mask has been pulled up, and this is when basically the workers turn on Mako, and it's great.
Oh, it's so good. All of the boys start attacking. Like Mako.
They fire from both sides, hit the robots.
Yeah.
Don't hit any Ipsium. And he's like, all right,
well,
me versus you, and then
Omega gets dropped though.
Yeah. But that part's so cool.
Because
but like she knows what she's doing. She gets dropped, but she brings the robot with him. But she looks at Hunter before she gets dropped. Like, you got this? All right, I got this. He hits the Batman. Okay. He hits the Batman.
No. But no. But you're right. So for Hunter.
So while the rebellion's going on, Hunter's sliding up Batman style.
But while Hunter's doing that, I actually saw the same look of like the Omega to Hunter, like, you got this, yeah, I got you. So I actually thought Omega was holding on to that robot more to give Hunter a few more seconds to make the timing work.
And she was like, I'm bringing this thing with me too.
And then it's just kind of like, because then when you see her fall, she's not like flailing. She's just like
ready for it.
She's ready. She's knowing what's going on. And
her and Hunter are in sync for sure, right there.
Yeah,
and it's cool to see. But this is when the miners, the kids, take care of Mako.
Yeah, and he like.
But Benny tries to,
well, Mako is like holding on like to the bridge and one thing, and then reaching up with his metal arm onto like Benny's hand, which can only, I assume, be like the worst pain in the world.
Yeah,
because if there's any kind of intensity control from like Mako's end, he's like, you brought this ship here and I'm gonna kill you. You ruined everything.
This idiot's kid. Like trying to still like, you lousy kids, I would have got away with it too.
He did sound like a Scooby-Doo villain at the end there.
Oh, he was.
But eventually, like Benny basically tries to help him. But Mako lets go, falls, slips himself. Like, bye, Mako. None of us are.
No, we don't. And this is kind of when we see them saying bye to Benny. Yeah. And Benny's like, well, we're just going to have equal share of profits. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is sci-fi. And, it was cool to see, though. The kids kind of take control of the production line, and they're gonna, Drake and him are kind of seem like they have a relationship now. They're about to eat, about to have lunch, like, for once. And they're gonna do things differently on this planet. And Omega sees that they changed things, and they want to. And she kind of brings that up, like, the Empire's not the only ones who are taking advantage of this.
Yeah.
And there's people out there. We've seen so many people like that, and like Mako, and that's what I love this line. When, when text like, unfortunately, yes. There are many like us out there, though.
Yeah, but there are, as much as there are like the people like Mako out there, there are also people. Yeah. There are also people like us, and it's like the idea of like giving hope again.
Yeah,
but
and that is
but it's interesting that they that they don't use the word like hope and stuff necessarily.
No, they give you hope.
No, because we don't have a new hope yet.
Right. Exactly.
In Star Wars, we don't necessarily have that new hope yet.
You gotta find your own.
So that's why they don't necessarily. A lot of like what I don't know. A lot of what I've seen is like you don't get that word a lot in any of this prequel area.
No, definitely not.
Because we haven't found the new hope.
No, there's glimpses of it for sure.
Yeah,
like, and that's what I'm getting at. They don't use the word, but they definitely allude to. That's what they have. They definitely have hope.
Yeah.
Like especially them. They're they just don't know. They don't have purpose yet, but they're finding it more and more each episode, and I'm more fulfilled with the episodes.
One thing I think that's going to come back, because like this is the end of the episode here. They're all saying goodbye. Is when Benny goes to Omega. He's like, "Hey, thanks for helping me. I owe you one."
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Oh, that'll come back for sure.
Like that'll come back. That'll be in one of those final 2 episodes or final 4 episodes.
Yeah, this is just another perspective of the rebellion forming. This is just showing like the behind the scenes efforts of the rebellion, like this and Andor. You know, these are shows that are showing you.
Andor was so good.
They're showing you different perspectives of the people who were involved, not just like the Skywalkers and stuff like that. And I find that more interesting at the end of the day.
Right.
Like you say, you don't need Darth Vader anymore. I mean, I love to see Darth Vader a little bit, just like Luke Skywalker and Mandalorian. I don't want to see him a lot, but like it's cool to see him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because
Especially since this is his like come up. This is when he's like this is like his most powerful. This part, like you know what I mean? So this is when he's just facing down a lot of people. And again, he's connected to people who I'd love to see start showing up, and those people are Dr. Aphra for sure. Like you say, the Indiana Jones route is unbearable.
Yeah.
You can't not see it.
Yeah.
But in this episode, it was less.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a way different episode. Retrieval was.
I like this episode. This episode was really good. Like I said, it was very political. It had a lot of stuff that was like, oh, okay.
It was so good.
Yeah.
But I think we're gonna wrap it up here. I'm Jimmy with the Triple C Collective.
I'm Collin
with the Triple C Collective. We hope you all stay safe. We want to thank you all for joining us. Like and subscribe, and may the Force be with you.